Welcome back to Animal Crossing New Horizons. I'm dear darling. Shall we see what's going on our lovely island of Fawnhallow today? Well, we'll have a sort of precursor conversation. Star Rail. I will say this Star Rail quest is like really long. I'm like, I was looking at a wiki because I was like, oh, I wonder what happens when you choose other options in the dialogue tree. And then I looked and I was like, this quest has 8 chapters. I'm like partway through chapter 3. And I was like, I've been playing for like 2 hours or something. Or probably not that long, but I don't know. But anyway, good evening everyone. And now in Fawnhallow, it's 8:26 p.m. on Friday, October 25th, 2024. I pulled a little bit on the rapper banner, and I was like, okay, you know, I've probably got enough to 50-50 on either rapper or Acheron, and still have enough to be able to get Fugue and have a chance at Halicone. Whether I want Halicone or not, I suppose is still up in the air, but and I was like, I initially was going to go for Acheron, but then I played a rapper trial, and I was like, oh no, this is like really satisfyingly fun. And then I listened to the song No Dazzle No Break, and then I was like, okay, that solidified it for me after like mulling it over a couple of days. I was like, I'm going to pull for her, and I pulled for her, and I got her early after losing 50-50 to Himiko. So yeah, it was pretty good. And I just got that part of the song stuck in my head where it goes, wake me up, woo! I wish I could do the woo as satisfyingly as I forgot the singer Rio, right, does in the song, but still, it's just surprisingly catchy how it ends up going. But yeah, we're not here to talk about that. We're here to talk more about the holiday. Where yesterday I spoke about late night snacking. I talked about otakos. I remember that. But yeah, what else did we do that evening? We sort of just wandered around the city. We had like a preliminary look at the Eiffel Tower and the Louvre. We didn't walk all the way from the Louvre to the Eiffel Tower because that is like an hour walk, I think. And it was also like 10 p.m, 11 p.m. or something when we were walking around. I don't know. Maybe I can see on the details in the photo. It was 10 p.m. So it's getting pretty late. But I don't know what we're doing here. Sometimes I take the photos of the most random things, but it helps at least remember as parts go by, because I'd rather have an album sort of detail each bit of what goes on rather than have stuff missing in between, even if it's a mundane thing like this of just apparently my friends buying some drinks from a grocery store. I don't know why the League of Legends photos are here. There seems like something incorrect with the photo timestamp, but whatever. Then this is a big one, you know, it's a big part of the Parisian stuff is we went to a Boulangerie, which if you don't know is a French word for a bakery, because we bought some, we were obviously France, Paris as well, known for its baked goods, known for its like baked desserts as well. You know, boulangerie, patisseries are both very popular known things. It's a thing I feel like people think about, like when they think of Paris, it's like, oh, that fresh like baguette or something in the morning, right? Free sweet scents. Well, maybe not sweet. I'm not really sure how I describe freshly baked bread, but yeah, we obviously had to check out a bakery. And we checked out multiple bakeries on the trip, multiple boulangeries on the trip, and I guess I'll sort of like rope them all together because if I just talk about this first one, it's going to be really boring because this first one was actually like one of the worst ones. It was fine, it's like definitively fine, but from each of the boulangeries I got the same thing. I just got a pain au chocolat, which if you don't know is the literal translation I think is bread with chocolate, but like, how do you describe a pain au chocolat if you've never had a pain au chocolat? I guess it would be a croissant with chocolate, with like chocolate inside of it. If you've never had a croissant, it's like a really flaky, buttery, bread-like food. If you've never had bread, then I don't even know where to begin, to be honest. But yeah, I ordered a pain au chocolat from each of them. And to be fair, my experience with pain au chocolats is not like huge. I've not really been to many bakeries in Britain, to be honest, in the UK in the first place, not for the lack of bakeries existing, but like I don't think bread motivates me as much as maybe it does the average person. Ironically, I did have bread today, but still, what I was gonna say is yeah, so the pain au chocolats I've had have basically been ones from like the supermarket, which I'm not going to say they're bad necessarily, but they're like not the pinnacle, because they're kind of made to last rather than being necessarily freshly made each day. I know a lot of supermarkets have their own bakery section, which I have never had a pan of chocolate from, actually. I've had many donuts from those, like, and cookies from those fresh bakery sections, because they're very affordable. And are they as good as maybe like a gourmet cookie or a gourmet donut? No, but they're cheap and very affordable. So that's why. But I've never had, like, I don't think I've had a definitively good pan of chocolate before this holiday. So the ones I've had have been like Costco's or Tesco's, like fine ones from their bakery, which I'm not here to throw shade at. Like there's a place for their bakery, but still. What I was gonna say is that the first place we went to, I'm not gonna name names because I'm not gonna like name and shame businesses, but it was like definitively fine. Like at the time I was eating it, I was like, oh, this is actually pretty good, but that's because it was better than basically all the other pan of chocolates I've had before. But in retrospect, it was just okay. It was I remember one of my friends got very annoyed. Well, I don't know, fake annoyance, but like obviously like overdone annoyance in a sense that obviously this is not like a groundbreaking, not like an earth-shattering thing or anything, but still a little bit, you know, something miffing. Is that word? Like, miffed him. I don't know how to describe that. It sounds weird when I say like that though. Yeah, so what was I going to say? I forgot. Oh, what I was going to say was the thing that they had like this very nice sort of spread of all their baked goods in the display cases. But then when you asked for it, they were like, okay, we'll just grab you one from like the tray instead, like this, like little drawers. And sometimes it was fine because it was like, oh yeah, I got a pan of chocolate, and that's probably something that they made today. It was like letting rest or cool or something on the stacked thing. I don't know why they didn't necessarily take it from the front place, because that's the ones which look the nicest, but whatever. I'm not here to necessarily judge how a business is run. Maybe those ones are fake, maybe those ones are stale, and they're just ones which just looked the best throughout like several, I'm not sure patches is the right word, several batches, that's what I wanted. But yeah, it was fine, I would say. And it had a pretty good selection of things, and they were very efficient, very quick, so I definitely can't complain about that. Yeah, what else to say about it? But then the next day, or maybe 2 days later, I can't remember, we went on like a round trip of different boulangeries. I say round trip, it was more like only 2 other 3 places, I think. I don't know why we didn't do it on the other next day. I can't remember what we did instead. Or maybe we did go every single day and I just don't have a recollection of that. Oh yeah, okay, I remember. The next day we didn't, is because we left somewhat later, so we just had like a lunch instead, I believe. I don't know what this is. Oh, that's another thing. And then the next day, I guess, is when we must have done the other Boulangerie visits, where we visited 2 different ones. And I would say that first one we visited on that next day was probably the best pan au chocolat I've ever had. But the sad part is I can't remember what the bakery's called, because I didn't take a photo of the shop. And when I took my video of like when we were reviewing the things, I was like, what was this place called? No one remembered. And also, it didn't have its branding on the bag, so it just had like generic decorations, and I was just like, oh, okay, this makes it difficult. But it genuinely was probably the best pan au chocolat I've ever had. It was like buttery and flaky, soft deliciousness. What else can I say except for like it nailed the prompt being pan au chocolat. I don't really know what I was going on. It doesn't even sound like a compliment at this point. But hopefully you know what I mean. It was delicious. It was a fantastic pan au chocolat. Excuse me. Would I eat it again? Absolutely, I'd eat it again. You know me. Would have been cool to have every single day, I suppose, start with that exact pan au chocolat. That might be a bit much, but yeah, why not, you know? I don't see why every day can't be a pan au chocolat day. obvious reasons, but still. Yeah, I don't remember what else I was going to say about this. It was just like a really good pan au chocolat. And the third supposed place overall we went to was fine. It was fine again. Maybe about on par, maybe slightly worse than the first one. It was colder, I would say. But maybe it tasted a bit better. It's hard to say. I honestly can't remember. For taste, I just remember the emotion, which was that second pan au chocolat was beautiful. Or at least it was the one I liked most. But it's a thing, like, people imagine with, like, bakeries. Like, people love the smell of fresh baked bread, which, you know, it's a good smell. Don't get me wrong. But, like, it's also another thing where... Oh, I didn't mean to wait. I meant to sit down. I don't know why I'm not sitting down, actually. If you work in a bakery, you have to wake up very early to get started on making all your baked goods, right? Like, it's like 2 or 3 a.m. or something, and you have to just like churn out like huge amounts of these baked goods. And it's something I was thinking about, you know, as I was eating a pan au chocolat, like, because bread making is not particularly easy in its own right, but croissants and pan au chocolats are like even harder, right? Like they're very delicate as far as baked bread-ish sort of goods go. I haven't baked bread before, so I'm not even going to pretend that I know, but I had the impression that baking bread was just sort of like, the hard part is getting all the exact ingredients and the exact procedure right, but the actual baking part, you know, somewhat straightforward. Maybe. Generally, I don't know how difficult or hard it is. The long short of it is that croissants and pan au chocolats, as I understand, are meant to be one of the harder baked goods to make. And the fact that you had to make, like, I don't know, like 100 or something, if you work in this bakery, from the early crack of dawn, seems crazy, no? I don't know how much of it they make actually in the morning itself, like whether they roll out the dough or laminate the dough and the butter in the morning and then make a shape, or if they do that in the evening and then they just pop them in the oven in the morning. And I'm not really sure croissants really need to sort of rest either to rise? Expand? I'm not really sure what makes a croissant expand in the first place either, but anyway, the whole long and short is that we went to some boulangeries. You might be like, did you have a baguette? I did not have a baguette. I don't go crazy for baguettes. As I say, I don't go crazy for breads. I do like pan au chocolats, I do like croissants, so I do like the sort of flaky bread, but like the actual baguette, harder breads, I'm just like, I could take them or leave them. They're fine, you know. I got nothing against them, but at the same time, I'm not like enamored by them. But yeah, I don't remember what else I was going to say about it. I don't know if there was anything else I was going to say about it, but yeah. The only thing I guess I'm a little remiss that I missed out on is like, maybe I should have woken up like really early on one of the days or something, like 3 a.m. and like walk down a street where there's a load of bakers baking and see if you can get that sort of that whiff of fresh smell of bread, and then like buy a baguette as if I was on my way to work or something. I don't know, is that like a particularly normal thing? Again, I'm not French nor a Parisian, so I'm always very conscious of things which ends up being like a very stereotypical thing. Whether it's actually reflective of what people do or not is a whole other point. But the other thing with baguettes now I think about it is there's like, what I picture generally when I think of baguette is this very sort of like roundish shaped one, the ones which are definitely at least like stocked in our supermarket. Excuse me, but like the traditional baguettes are actually much rougher in shape, aren't they? They kind of look more like shards. I was almost gonna like liken them to daggers, but that's perhaps not really the right way to describe it. There's a little photo here of a baker preparing baguettes for baking. Algeria consumes about 49 million baguettes per day, and France about 30 million. Oh, okay. I don't know what else to say. But yeah, some of my friends, they got a baguette. Like 2 of my friends, I think they got a baguette. Actually, I think one of my friends tried to buy a baguette. I'm going to call him out here slightly. Tried to get a baguette, but then ended up buying what I believe was like a 5-grain type of bread. Because he was ordering it, and I didn't know what he wanted. I thought he was just getting bread, and he was just like sort of like directing because, you know, unfortunately we are not all fluent or speak particularly good French. I would say there were numerous times I did try and speak French, And sometimes they responded in French, and sometimes they responded in English. And I was like, I don't even know why I'm trying to do this, because if a conversation goes any further, I would not know what to say. But nonetheless, we had a good old time getting some bread. Let's get that bread, and then also let's get some pain au chocolats. I'm trying to think what else. A friend got something else, but I don't remember what he got. Oh, we got like a Madeleine as well, which I was thinking, because I saw that in the third place as well. I was thinking I should also get that, but then I didn't get that. I feel like this is, because food is such a big part of British culture in the first place, it's like, this is too much food. When am I going to have time to eat? Not even time, but when am I going to have stomach space to eat all this food? It's impossible. C'est impossible. So then all the foods that get left uneaten. The future's still uneaten. So that makes no sense. But yeah, I don't know what else I was going to say. Pain au chocolat, baguette. What else do you get from a boulangerie? Boulangerie also is a very satisfying French word to say. In my humble opinion. Who doesn't like the word boulangerie? Very, very satisfying. We love it. We stand it. We appreciate it. And we respect it. But there's a lot of, to be fair, I think French is a very lovely sounding language. So boulangerie. It's just one of those ones that I like, ooh-ree sound. It's a very sort of pleasant set of phonemes to go from one to the other. I'm not sure if that's quite the right word for phonemes, but still. Anyway, on that note, I'm going to round this episode up here, because I've clearly not got anything else to say about boulangeries. But still, it was very nice. But second place, lovely pain au chocolat. It still would have been, I guess it would have been kind of cool in retrospect to go to Paris and be like, let's find the best pain au chocolat and just go on a tour of all the boulangeries and compare them all. But, that would have to be something I do next time I go to Paris. So, for now, if you have been watching, thank you very much. It's been Animal Crossing New Horizons. I've been Dear Darling. Likes, comments, subscription, shares, greatly appreciated. Socials, Discord down below. Hope we see each other again, but for now, it's our farewell. So, until next time, bye-bye for now.